talk to a spirit. She comes in my dreams.
Welcome to the Girl Awakening podcast, where each week we will actively deconstruct our beliefs, systems, and our story and embrace all of the perspectives of the awakening process. Hello, I'm Jo Hendy from the Sacred Sister Project.
And I'm Amanda Parker of Mayala Organics.
Together each week we will share a vulnerable, open and honest podcast about the awakening process in all of its sacredness. Yay!
Well done.
Here
Excellent.
we are!
We're podding.
We're podcasting! This is so cool.
Yeah.
Just a little background, Amanda and I have just spent probably about the last 40 minutes just doing the intro, which is hilarious.
Preserved for all of time now.
We've been talking about this now for a few months.
Quite a few months, yeah. In many different ways.
Yeah.
Just sharing what it means to open ourselves up to a wider space.
Yeah.
I mean, we do that anyway in everything we do in our work, but to kind of just talk.
Yeah, and record it.
Mm-hmm.
It feels a little bit bizarre.
Yeah. Surreal in its realness.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But so needed. Yeah. So a little bit of background. The reason why Amanda and I wanted to do this podcast is because, you know, in the last couple of years, as I'm sure all of you are feeling as well, it's literally been an upheaval in an amazing way. Like, I'm so grateful to have had that experience, and still, you know, I feel like it's even more of an experience today than ever, each day.
Yes.
It's getting deeper, and, you know, I'm finding that it's not so much about the outside anymore.
No, and the distractions of what we've got so grown used to, pulling us out of, you know, what we want to do, who we see ourselves as. Yeah.
That's so true. Yes, absolutely. That's hit the nail on the head. Exactly. Because who we thought we once were is not who we are today. And that's the one thing that I think I've been going through the last couple of years.
100%.
And even around the Sacred Sister, just working with young girls, I'm noticing how much more the system's coming in on top of it.
Yes.
And I'm feeling more and more like I just have to, like, I've got this rush now I just have to, you know, share more what I know or what I feel with these girls, you know, even if I'm planting a little seed.
Be there and, show them where the soil is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's not outside, it's not on social media, it's not, you know, in a boyfriend, or it's not, you know, although sometimes it may be, but, you know.
The signs or the, you know, the doors opening because of a connection or a interaction, but not believing that is the reason why. It's always what you do with that, isn't it?
Oh,
you
my
know?
God.
And to be a mentor, to be a teacher on that path.
Absolutely.
Is such a gift, isn't it, to be able to feel that calling.
Yeah. To not, the thing I think for myself too is like, not giving my power away anymore, and that's not an ego thing. It's like, I just want to be certain in who I am, and I don't even have to share that with anyone. It sounds bizarre, but I don't have to share that with anyone. But it's like, if it's leading me, if I'm kind, if I'm doing everything that makes me feel fulfilled, then I'm on the right track.
Yes.
And I don't have to tell anybody about it, but, you know, I can if I want to.
Yeah. It just happens spontaneously, rather than a planned, formatted structure. Yeah. And I think that's really much how you and I live and operate. Is, you know, why talking about this podcast was something that we felt connected to, but took a while to come around.
We had still things to learn.
Yeah, and also not feel that we were selling out or buying in or, you know, any of that kind of thing by wanting to do this space, create this space of sharing and awakening.
Absolutely.
You know, that it was just it was still of nature and of organic and of real.
And that we are worthy.
Yeah, and that we are worthy. Yes. La la la. We have a voice.
I get emotional when I say that word.
Yeah.
There's so many women out there that just don't feel worthy. You know, like I've even mentioned to a couple of friends about this, and they're like, "Oh no, you don't want me." You know.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
We see, we know,
Yeah.
you know what you have to share, and
absolutely.
we think how powerful that is to.
I totally resonate when they go, no. I get it. I absolutely get it. And it's like, hey, I'm gonna, you know, we're going to step out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've both had this conversation too. You know, it's like, even the way we speak, or, you know, will people listen to us, or, you know.
What have I got to say?
Yeah.
What have I got to share?
Yeah, exactly. And I know that a lot of women have that same thought. It's like, you know, our thoughts are becoming so powerful, you know, and they're stopping us from doing anything these days. You know, it's like, oh, I don't think I'm good enough to do that, or I've got nothing to say, or I'm not pretty enough, or I've got wrinkles, or I've got a fat ass, or my boobs sag, or whatever. I don't know. It's like all of those things go through our minds constantly, and they're some of the smaller things. You know, I know there's lots of other heavier things that
are part of what have shaped people's thoughts and how they've come to be in that construct of, you know, how they see themselves or what they know their story to be, you know, even though they don't even know what their story is, they just act within a certain space.
Yeah.
You know.
We were talking about this, this morning. We talk about the story a lot, which is such a powerful aspect that I think we've seen even in ourselves in the last few years, is that we've all got a story of who we are.
Yeah.
And the story locks us in, and it locks us in somewhere. And then when things happen that will trigger something in us, we default back to the story. This is why, because of this, blah, 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 blah. So we're not actually allowing ourselves to step into a new way. So the unlearning part and the deconstructing part is the most exciting part. It's like, you know, allowing ourselves to step outside the story and say, okay, I want to start something new. And I think the thing that I found that is the hardest part is the people around us don't want us to step outside and do something different, because then they may have to, or it shatters their world, because they're comfortable with that box they've got you in, or they're comfortable with how they see you. So if you're doing anything different, they're like, oh no, fuck, don't.
Yeah, I like how you fit into my story.
Absolutely. It's like, and you know, that can bring up sadness too, and you can't keep protecting people for you to go free. You have to at some stage be able to go, nah, it's time.
Yeah, well, one of our favourite sayings, no fucks given, basically, isn't it? Like, you know, and it takes
Helen
courage.
We love that.
Yeah, and it takes sometimes the things that bring us to that point of having the courage or the abandonment of let's just going, ripping it open and stepping out. You know, it's, you know, crazy. Like we've all heard that thing, that 1 knock, 2 knock, 3 knocks. You know, and I know sometimes the times I've felt most alive has been when I've had the most pain in my life, because you're really the most vulnerable and you allow, through no choice, basically, yourself to deconstruct.
Oh my God.
You know, isn't it? You know,
it's so powerful. Yeah.
And sitting there in that space.
I can feel that. It's like, it's the nothingness.
Yeah.
It's almost like we've built this world of, you know, labels and systems and defaults. We've built this world to fill the space. So when we're in the space when there's nothing, we're terrified.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's the space of growth. It's like, you know, that I remember seeing ages ago, you know, the circle, and then outside the circle, it's just this little thing that says, this is where magic happens. And it's like, oh, I felt relief just seeing it, and I was like, that's so simple. You know, it's wild.
There was no pathway, or,
no.
You know.
It was just over there. Just outside the circle. Crazy.
Yeah. And so here we are today, like just going, okay, well, it's bigger than us. You know, like we have a lot that we want to share of our own selves. But there's a lot of other people that have to share as well.
Absolutely.
That are connecting in and are going to be a part of what Girl Awakening is about as well, that we're excited to bring through.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Behind that even is just, we know there's we know that you're there, you know, we know that you're there waiting to hear this as well, because it's like it's a consciousness that's
it's a calling. It's a calling. It's a new way. It's like it's the unraveling. It's beautiful.
The unraveling. That's a great word.
So cool. So each week we'll have different women, and we were just chatting too, why women, but yes, men as well. We all have that little girl in us.
Yes.
Men and women. That's what we're learning and discovering as well. But we just wanted to hear all different perspectives, all different views and ways that people have gone through the awakening process, and there's no end, and there's really kind of no beginning. I was thinking of that too. To think of at one point where, I mean, I've done many courses over my life where I've had, you know, the pin drops or the penny drops, and it's like, oh my God, I never knew that, you know, and then that literally is a crack opens and a bit of lights kind of come through, and you're like, oh wow, I like that. You know, what else is out there? But I think everybody has their own way and their own experiences and what they believe they need to do. And there's no wrong or right. That's the thing I'm learning too. It's like, you know, this whole duality thing is exploding as well. It's like we're coming into this world where there's just no wrong or right. There's no way. There's no one way. It's like there's many ways and many different perspectives, and for us to be more full as a whole, we need to view everyone's perspective and accept them and allow them and actually see them not through our eyes. Because that's limiting our experience of who that person is. You Absolutely.
know? Right. And yes.
So cool.
Just, and that whole thing of listening is, so, you know, sometimes perhaps not seeing, because then when you're actually just listening, which is why we're all so excited about the podcast.
Nobody can see us.
Well, you can, because we thought we'd just put it out there as well, but you know, maybe you're just listening on, you know, on your phone, and you know, you're hearing something that strikes a resonance with you, or you know, maybe you have a story you want to share. You know,
yes, absolutely. Get in contact with us. We you know, we want to hear everyone's perspective. We you know, there's no one famous. There's no one. You know, this is the journey, and even that word's like being used so much. But hey, it is a journey. There's no other word that fits that.
It's quite
concept.
as descriptively, because we're all travellers. You know.
Going home.
Going
home. So beautiful. So that's where we're going. We're going to have a beautiful lineup, which we've got some amazing women already that will be coming in, sharing their experiences, kind of a no holds barred. So, I mean, we've said fuck a few times already, so you'll probably be hearing it a little bit more. So if profanities isn't your thing, then we won't be going overboard. But sometimes you just need to use that word because it holds such powerful energy too.
Nothing more powerful. You know, if you've ever had a child that learns their first swear word, you just see how much joy they have in saying that word.
It's like they know.
They just know that it's a word.
That has impact. So, you know, we're going to go down the road of psychedelics, which is I'm very excited about. I've had my own experiences in that area, and it was profound, and look, I'm all for it if that's what, and when I say psychedelics, I'm talking about plant medicine. I'm not talking about anything constructed in a lab, but
that's part of the system so much.
Absolutely. So talking to women that are really going and diving down that path, which is so exciting, and then, you know, there's just so many different areas that meditation,
nature,
yoga, nature,
relationships, all the things. Well, really, it's one word life, but it's when you deconstruct what that word means. There's so many things that contribute to our awakening journey, isn't it? And what we go looking for, how we seek something that triggers us to go, I feel like I need something. It's not chocolate. It's not a, it's what, it's like, oh, I'm going to go on a retreat, or I'm going to start doing yoga, or,
what the
plant medicine, whatever the calling is. There's usually something that is a little
yearning.
Yeah, that just saying, okay, we need to move through this space into the next space.
And that's what's coming through really much more kind of naturally now, I think, because we're learning to go within, we're learning to listen to our selves more, we're learning to listen to our higher selves, we're learning to listen to soul, however you want to see it, God. And the signs, or the little fine, what's the word I'm looking for? Here we go. Help me. It's like we're kind of in a blank space, like we talked about before, and it's being aware and conscious of the signs that are happening around us, because they're always happening around us. Like, even though when something really shitty happens or bad happens, instead of being able to view it as, oh, something's happening to me, something happening for me. This is happening for me, how I want to view it, how I want to change my perspective on viewing it.
Yes.
So it works for me instead of against me.
Yeah.
I think that's what's been happening too, a lot. I've been becoming much more conscious of that.
Taking away the blame, and because then you're disempowering yourself by blaming. And when you look at it as, we were chatting this morning, I was sharing how a person was inquiring about some teas, and as a result of a condition that she had, and asking questions, and we always welcome that. It's great. It's part of, you, with your girls in the courses and things, you learn from questions.
Absolutely.
But there was a point where I just went, oh, this is a lot of questions. I feel like I've answered these, but then I was like, well, you know what? Okay, what am I learning from this? And then I looked at it from that point of view, and I was actually learning a lot as well from her, and feeling her passion behind her discovery about what was, she could do to help herself. And then I kind of went to near the level of admiration for her, because obviously she had a lot that she needed to she wanted to heal in herself and understand, and she had the energy for that when she might not have had the energy for other things. And I felt really privileged to be a part of that. So it's like turning things around, and then you both plug into that space of learning, growing, joy about the process.
That's beautiful, because that's what's happening all the time. I think sometimes we get in a rut, or we get, we're so have to do this, have to do that. Then there's kids, and there's husbands, and there's we still have to live in the world, but how best to do that and still be conscious of everything else that's happening around us.
That nourishment that comes for what's into.
And I think because so many more people are going, what's happening on the planet, this is changing, that's changing, a lot more people are coming a lot more conscious, that there are a lot more people that are slowed down too. Around us, like, especially if you're in that kind of like-minded group of people, you're finding that those people are they are going within as well, and you don't feel like you have to be picking up people, or you don't feel like you have to be doing things that you would usually do, and there's no backlash, or there's no, it's kind of like, I remember when COVID first came around, I'll never forget this, and you sent a message saying, how amazing is it that you don't have to make an excuse to go somewhere, to be with people, because we basically
not go out. I want to stay home.
And I was like, that really hit me, so I was like, how much energy we waste in trying to convince people, or not convince people that lie to people basically. Oh, sorry, I've got, this on or that on or whatever.
Yeah.
When, why can't we just be, I don't really feel like it, and be okay? People are now going, that's cool, that's fine, I understand.
Yeah, more open.
Yeah, and understanding. Yeah, because you just don't know what's around the corner these days. Everything's kind of unpredictable.
Yeah.
Which is great, which brings us back to where we started when you were talking about that beautiful space where you learn the most.
Yes, yeah.
When we're in that space of nothingness and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's nothing to grab hold of. There's no story.
It's just me and my rawness.
Yeah.
And how, there's just, the emptiness, the openness.
Yeah.
And another thing I was reading lately was, like, from the pain point of view, another time when we're completely open and ready for, I guess, an upgrade or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It's been an awe, because, like, the example given was being out under the night sky and looking at the stars, or a huge mountain, and feeling humbled and small, but wow.
Yeah.
Because you're outside of any need to be anything.
Yeah.
And you're just really taken away by something that is so much more than us.
Absolutely.
And
it's a great way to get out of the mind. I know when we sit on the beach at Miami, get our coffee from all the beautiful people at Nectar. Thank you guys.
Yeah. We love you.
We love you. And how many times we've sat there and watched the sun come up and then had whales. Remember that morning we had them going crazy?
Yeah, they were jumping.
They were literally jumping out of the water in front of us, and I think we were nearly crying. We were crying.
Yeah.
We were just like so overwhelmed. And straight away, I don't even remember what we're talking about. There you go.
Yeah.
It's like that.
You're taken away from everything.
Nature is so powerful. Like when you see it like that, it takes you out of everything.
And if you were looking at your phone, or if you weren't just being out, looking out at what was around you, you wouldn't totally miss it all.
Absolutely.
And you'd be like locked into something that was distracting you from, who you are or what you could be in that moment.
Absolutely.
If you allow it.
The feeling. I think it's around the feeling, isn't it? The feeling of seeing something like that. I took Narelle down the other morning, and she's from the UK, and she's been living here for a long time now, but we were sitting there and I could see a couple of dolphins just right in near the shore, and I said, oh look, there's a couple of dolphins. She's like, oh wow, and just as she looked, they literally jumped out of the water like something you'd see in a movie, and did this big flip, and then there was like 5 or 6 and they all started doing this dance. Like, it was so beautiful. And she just cuddled me, and I'm like, I didn't do anything. She was just so beautiful, and I'm like, it actually is really beautiful. There's magic occurring all the time, but we just need to be kind of open to it and aware of it.
Yeah, and I think sometimes that awareness is actually plugging you in to the energy of it. It's like co-creating. You're co-creating the moment, isn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely. And there's, when she said thank you to me, and I was like, oh well, I didn't create it. And all of a sudden I was like, maybe I did have a part in that, just because I was so excited for her to see that.
Yeah.
And she was so grateful. She was like, oh, thank you, universe. She was like being so gracious about it and overwhelmed with joy seeing these beautiful animals just do their thing.
I can't wait to have her on. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. Hearing her share.
Yeah. Everyone's got these amazing stories to tell, and I can't wait to share them with everybody that's listening.
Yeah. I think this is well, we described it this morning as a birth, didn't we? Yeah. And I think that's a perfect word just for what is happening here today and what will continue to happen each week.
Yeah, absolutely.
As we get to share and awaken with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sounds good. That feels like it could be our first episode.
I think we've nailed it. I hope you did too.
Alrighty, well thank you so much for listening. We've loved sharing a little bit of ourselves. I'm sure there's going to
We
be
didn't
lot
talk a
more.
lot about ourselves.
No.
We just kind of lived over, or we glossed over a little bit. We're going to come, and you're going to hear more about each of us as we go along. But we didn't want to just dump on you in the first birth episode.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of time for stories.
Absolutely.
You know, I think we talk about stories a lot. Like clients I've had over the years, you know, I think, and Joe's like with workshops and seminars, the Hindi seminars and Sacred Sister, it's all about stories, isn't it?
Yeah.
And opening those books and allowing people to see what's in their book.
Yeah.
It's really quite amazing. I think everyone should write a story, you know, and because it's just so, it's like emptying yourself out like nothing else, and allowing yourself to then write the new chapter, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. I hope that as part of this podcast, that awakening process, well, coming back to that, where I started, I do go do that. Once you will hear more of our stories. But, you know, we don't want to bore you.
No.
We will definitely be exciting you. Hopefully you feel something that resonates with you too and empowers you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if there's anything that we're not sharing that you'd like to know, maybe throw a comment, ask us, DM us.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
Yeah, however that works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
We're here.
Thank you, Amanda. I love
Thank you, Joe. I love you too. Thank you for listening to our Girl Awakening podcast. We will see you next week with a new guest, and we look forward to sharing with you an awakening. There's a link in our show notes for info regarding our guest, and a special blissful thank you to Ksenia Luki, the amazing artist behind our theme song. We will see you next week. Bye.
I talk to a spirit. She comes in my dreams. She teaches me lessons, and boy does she sing. Her voice sways like a hummingbird, flies like a shooting star. She whispers, you were never born, so you will never die.